Welcome to Chord Pairs. So today's chord pair is G and C add9. So I'm going to share the screen in a moment, but the chords that I want to show you today are fairly popular. So with that chord pairing, I'm going to discuss what's in the chord, of course, like I've been doing throughout the entire series. But this particular pairing is super popular, and it's a really easy one to play, and of course it sounds great. So without further ado, let's jump into the score, and here we come. All right, so there it is. A little different view. We have the mainstays, our fretboard viewer, so you can see all the stuff highlighted on the bottom. You can see already the G chord is already highlighted in the fretboard view, and a whole note to start, and that kind of leads you into the particular chord chart, which has first and second endings. I've done this before in other chord pair videos. So let's talk about what's in the chord before we play the stuff. All right, so let's jump in here and see if we can get it up here. There we go. Oh, let me change the fingering. I changed it before, but somehow it didn't take. Okay, so the fingering is set up with all four fingers. Both chords will have all four fingers involved in the fretting hand, okay? And of course, you see in the bottom the spelling of the chord, which is really important. Definitely good to know. Definitely helps you memorize the chord. The spelling of the chord is right here on the bottom, G, B, and D. And then of course you see there's three G's in this particular chord voicing. And like I mentioned before in other chord pair videos, as long as you know what the spelling is of the chord, you can play this chord anywhere on the fretboard. Okay, so this again is a popular location of playing this particular chord voicing. Okay, so G, B, and D spell out the G chord, and we have one B, we got two Ds. You can see it in the diagram here. Okay, excuse me. So that's the G chord. Onward to the C add9. Okay, so that one's same thing on top. We have the ring finger pinky, which the G chord also had. So you have a common fingering that the middle finger and the index finger move around. Those two fingers move more so than these two. They stay stationary. So it makes the chord change a little bit easier because now you're only moving two fingers in the same direction, actually, when you compare it to the G chord. Let's go back to G. You can see where middle finger and index finger are now. And somehow this keeps going back to pinky is what I want. Okay, so that's the idea. Ring finger pinky stay right in place. We're not going to move at all. Okay, so that's the idea. But these two guys are going to move in the G chord from there to here. Okay, so moving from 6th string and 5th string over to strings 5 and 4 between the G and now the C add9 chord. Okay, so that's how that is set up. All right. Oh, C add9. I didn't talk about the spelling of the C add9. Excuse me. So C, E, and G spell out the C chord. The D is the add9 part. Okay. And usually with add chords, you're adding a tone into a triad. Okay. So this could be play within the octave. In this case, the D is past the octave. C would be right here. If I move down, you can see the note changes to C. So that's the octave between here and here. You can see the colored circles here are the same. That's where your C's are located. You can see in the bottom it's reinforced. Now if we move back up, let's put the pinky back in. All right, that's the idea with the D. It's past the octave, so it's an add9, which means you go from 8 to 9 in terms of steps away from this tone. Okay, that comes from the C major scale. And guitar theory is something that I'm going to do as a separate video series. I mentioned this on one of my channel updates. So we're going to go more in depth about the music theory part, but for now, we just want to get the sounds and the movement. The music theory part will come later, but I just want to give you a little heads up on how the chord is put together, okay? So you're not just playing the chord, not knowing exactly what the heck's going on. So the added tone is D. It's 9 notes away from C in the C major scale. That's the resulting point that I want to make. But the main thing is we want to get these chords to move smoothly between one and the other. That's why there's pairs. Okay, 2 is easy to handle. More than 2 can be a little tricky, especially if you're just starting out and you want to get better at your chord play. You want to keep it to pairs. It's a very nice manageable number. Okay, so having that out of the way, let's talk about the strum pattern. We have 16th notes, so the rhythm is set up a certain way now too. And we're at a slow tempo of 50, which is good. You'll hear that in the playback in a moment. Underneath is the right hand movement that we get it's consistent all the way throughout. And of course, the first ending, we're going to have all quarter notes, so they'll be down strummed all the way through. So in a sense, it's kind of like two strum patterns. If you combine the first half, the first 4 bars with the first ending. But if you go to the second ending, as you'll see here, I kept the strum pattern the same throughout with extra time put onto the C add9 chord. Okay, and we end on G, which is actually the first chord here. Okay, in fact, I'm going to actually put that in to the score. We want the pinky for that, and okay, there we go. So G starts and ends the tune. Let's move Mr. Fretboard view out of the way. Same chord to start is the same chord we end with. Okay, so there you go. It's a nice little bookend into the actual score here. Back to the strum pattern: down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up, down. The way you count this rhythm out, it's 1 E N, 2 E N, 3 E N, 4 E N. That's how it counts out. And then of course the right hand's going to reflect that. Down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up, down. Okay, so if I get out of the screen share for a second, I'll actually demonstrate it for you. So for G chord, down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up, down. Right hand is playing all 6 strings, all of them. Okay, when you get to the C add9, the rhythm is going to be the exact same, but the low E string is knocked out. You can actually do that by taking your thumb and putting it over the top. In case you do go across all 6 strings, for the C add9 chord, you're not going to hear the tone. And that's the C add9, okay? Down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up, down. Excuse me. That applies to the C add9 chord too. So 2, 3 E N, 4 E N, G chord, 2 E N, 3 E N, 4 E N. Okay, so that's the way the chord is played with the rhythm in there. Let's go back to screen share. And now we're going to have this play through. It's at 50 beats per minute, so it's a slow tempo, nothing crazy. Let's get back to the beginning. And let's play it through and see what it sounds like in the score. And everything's out of the way. Yes, it is. Perfect. Okay. And again, if you need to have reinforcement for the fretboard, your low E strings right here, bottom thick string, top thin string over here. And let's hear it played back. Here it is. And there you go. So now 50, that's the tempo we're at here, right? So this might feel really kind of hairy and fast. So you can easily change that. In fact, I'm going to do it right now. So I get another playthrough on this guy. Let's do it to 40. Okay. So that's the idea. Tempo wise, what it sounds like at 50, it's really kind of cooking there, right? So a simple remedy to that would just be to bring it down. 2, 3, 4, and 1. Okay, so I'd give you a little sample of the slower tempo. So highly recommend using a metronome of any sort, whether it's online, whether you have an actual physical metronome that you can hold in your hand, drum machine, whatever you want to use to play along. Or if you want to go with the clock, the second hand on the clock, it's at 60 beats per minute. That might feel very fast, so maybe you don't want to use a clock initially. metronome of any kind, it doesn't matter how you get a hold of one, use one when you do this. It definitely helps a lot. If you're playing this through on YouTube, of course, you can just go to the settings and you can change the playback speed to a slower tempo. Okay, that's another way you can do it if you don't have any access to any kind of metronome. Do it that way. So when you hear the playback on the video, you can actually go through the chart that way, of course. I do the same thing when I'm working on different tunes. If I use YouTube to learn a song, I'll often go to the playback settings and slow things down if it's a really fast tune and I can't keep up. Same thing here. Okay, so that's how it works out. Like I mentioned on previous chord pair videos, if you want to start with either chord, you can start as you see it here, or you can start with the C chord first. If you want to add more time to the chords, so say if you want to do 2 bars of the G chord or the C add9 chord, that's all up to you. You have carte blanche, do whatever you want with it. I also talk about in past videos of working with the left hand first, getting the left hand situated so you know what's going on there. Then go into the right hand, separate that out, do the right hand only with the strum pattern. So we can get out of the share. You got the idea behind the playback. So let's go back into main screen. So the idea of left hand, just moving nice and light. We're not worrying about how the chord sounds. We're just taking into account the movement, okay? So the idea there, just moving the fingers that are going to move, which are the index finger and the middle finger, right? Index finger, middle finger. Moving those 2 fingers between chord changes. Great, great place to start. Before you even jump into the chart, you know, don't even worry about anything that's in the chord chart. Start here, left hand only. And I'm very loose. I'm not squeezing the chord with my left hand. I'm not pushing in, having the frets touch, you know, the strings and vice versa. I'm actually just getting the movement together first on the left hand, okay? Because the right hand's going to follow it, so you want to start with left hand always whenever you do these chord pair videos, okay? Take it real slow. The idea is everything moves through the air in one piece. You maintain the shape, right? So if I take out the ring finger and the pinky and get rid of those and focus in on the bottom of the chord, you know, I'm not fretting anything with these 2 guys. They're just hanging out. I want to get this movement going first. Nice and relaxed, no tension in the hands. If you feel any tension building in your hands, you know, stop, crack your knuckles, massage your fingers, you know, all the stuff, do stretches, all these things. You want to be tension free when you do this. Is super important, and I always want to try to cover this on each of these chord pair videos. Relaxation is the key to the hand moving freely, okay? So you want to make sure that everything is nice and comfortable. Don't worry about speed. The slower you do it, the faster you're going to get the movement down. And you want to ideally get this in one sitting. Nice and slow. Take your time going through. Okay, if 2 fingers are tough to kind of move around, start with 1 finger. In this case, the middle finger, playing all the root notes of the chords. Playing a G on the 6th string, 3rd fret, jumping across to the C note on the 5th string, 3rd fret. So all 3rd fret motion with the middle finger. Take your time. You know, don't be rushing through. I mean, eventually you'll get the speed. You want to really, again, take the time. There's no rush whatsoever, you know. Now you can check out the 1st finger, where that's going. Here it is for the G chord. There it goes for the C chord. Going from a B note on the A string, 2nd fret, to an E note on the D string, 2nd fret. Which, if you go through it that way, by the letters, that also helps you memorize where the finger goes, because now you have specifics. You're not just going 2 to 2. You're going from B to E. Okay, so the number thing, I've mentioned this too in previous videos with the tabs and the whole thing. If you go with the number thing only, you'll never learn the note that's under your finger, which is part of the chord sound. So that's what you want to try to get ultimately, is what's in the chord, how is it put together, what are the tones. Okay, so don't go strictly by numbers, because that's very fast cash. You want to go through and get long-term investment, you know. So that's what we want to do, pay dividends, right? If you want to go financial on analogies. My teachers always would give me analogies for learning things. So I'm giving you one, so why not? So here we go. Long-term investment, right? So learn where B is, learn where E is, and that's what your 1st finger grabs on your G chord. A B right there, not 2, and E right there. All right, then you grab those 2 together, G, B, C, E, which identically are what they call major thirds. So here's another bit of lingo thrown in, which I'm going to cover in the guitar theory course that I'm going to do, or guitar series. Anyway, so now you have that movement going on, and you put it together with the ring finger pinky combo, which does not move, and you have that. And then you're ready to start to check out the chart. Before you even do the chart, check out the chord. Make sure all of the tones ring out clear. There's no buzzing, there's no muted tones. And moving to the next one. Again, I'm doing everything very slow. I didn't like the buzz there before, so I just made an adjustment with my fingers more towards the frets. And these are the things you check before you start playing through the chart. And this applies to all the chord pair videos. Same exact thing. Work with left hand first, get that movement together, then add your right hand in, and of course the final check would be, how does the chord sound? Everything's ringing out, nothing's buzzing. Okay, so there's a lot of good things to do before you jump into the chart. Hopefully these tips help you out. So there it is. That's your chord pair for the week. G to C add9. Some explanations, some guitar tips thrown in there. So if you like the video, feel free to like. And if you want to subscribe to the channel, you're more than welcome to subscribe. Love to have you here. And as I always try to say at the end of these things, I'm here to help. So hopefully this chart helps you out. Take your time. Again, slow is the key. All right. Key to speed is play slow. All right. So have a great one. And on that note, I will see you soon, and look at the end here for the next videos to check out more chord pairs and other things I'm going to post here. So thanks, guys. Have a great one. Take care.